1. Hook, ever found yourself lost in a maze of AWS services, wondering if you're building a fortress or a house of cards? 2. The real problem in the rush to leverage AWS: many engineers overcomplicate their infrastructure. They pile on services, create convoluted architectures, and end up with high costs and slow deployments. Startups especially fall into this trap. They think they need every feature and service AWS offers, but often, they just need a solid foundation. The real problem is balancing the right tools with business needs without getting bogged down in unnecessary complexity. 3. The simple explanation: designing AWS infrastructure is about making practical choices. Start with your application requirements. What are your performance needs? Consider factors like traffic, data size, and user experience. Use AWS services that fit your goals without overloading your architecture. Keep it simple. The goal is to create a system that can scale, is cost-effective, and is easy to maintain. Avoid the temptation to add every shiny service. Instead, focus on the core services that meet your immediate needs. 4. Real-world example: let's look at a startup called Foodie, which launched a meal delivery app. Initially, they used AWS Lambda, DynamoDB, Elastic Load Balancing, and CloudFront. They thought these services would give them the flexibility to scale quickly. But after 6 months, their costs soared to $5,000 a month. The team was spending 30% of their time debugging issues caused by the complex architecture. The problem? They didn't need all those services at once. They could have started with a simple EC2 instance and a relational database for their initial launch. They had 1,000 daily users, which could easily be handled with a single instance. When they began to scale, they could have gradually used services like Lambda for specific functions. After revisiting their architecture, they simplified it. They ended up saving 50% on their monthly costs and cut debugging time in half. This allowed them to focus on improving their app instead of wrestling with their infrastructure. 5. What to do instead? Now, let's break down a practical framework to design your AWS infrastructure without over-engineering. Follow these steps. Step 1. Define your requirements. Determine your expected user load. For example, if you anticipate 1,000 daily active users, plan for that. Identify your performance needs. Will you need real-time data processing or batch processing? Step 2. Start small. Begin with the simplest solution. For instance, use a single EC2 instance with an RDS database for startups. Keep your architecture minimal. Only add services when necessary. Step 3. Choose scalable services. If you're using EC2, consider auto-scaling groups to manage traffic spikes. For data storage, use S3 for static assets and RDS for structured data. Step 4. Implement cost monitoring. Set up AWS budgets to track spending. Aim for a threshold of 70% of your budget to get alerts. Regularly review your costs and usage. Identify any unused resources. Step 5. Iterate and improve. As your user base grows, reevaluate your architecture. Deploy new services like Lambda only when needed. Gather feedback from your team and users on performance issues. 6. Common mistakes. Mistake 1. Overusing serverless. Fix. Only use serverless for specific functions that need to scale quickly. Don't apply it to everything. Mistake 2. Ignoring cost management. Fix. Set budgets and alerts. Monitor usage weekly to catch unexpected spikes early. Mistake 3. Not planning for growth. Fix. Design your initial architecture with growth in mind. Use services that can scale easily, like RDS. Mistake 4. Underestimating security. Fix. Implement IAM roles correctly. Use least privilege access and regularly review permissions. Mistake 5. DIY everything. Fix. Utilize managed services when possible. They save time and reduce maintenance burdens. 7. Quick checklist before you launch. Use this checklist to ensure you're on the right track. Have you defined your user requirements? Are you starting with a minimal architecture? Are you using scalable services? Is there cost monitoring in place? Have you planned for future growth? 8. Summary plus CTA. Designing AWS infrastructure doesn't have to be complicated. Focus on your immediate needs, start small, and iterate as you grow. Avoid common pitfalls by monitoring your costs and planning for scalability. If you found this video helpful, leave a comment with your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe for more practical tech tips. Let's simplify cloud engineering together. Bonus practical tip: if you're unsure what to pick, start with the simplest option that ships today. Then measure for 7 days, latency, errors, deploy time, and cost. Only upgrade when metrics force the decision, not fear.